The 7th of October, a day which will forever be etched in human and certainly Jewish history. 2 years. This year, 2 years later, it's on Sucot, the second day of Sucot, second day, Yontif in Chutz La'aretz. For us, it's a day when our son disappeared. I remember not being able to believe that when we were told by the army after 6 days, on the Thursday of that week, that Daniel is ne'edar, they don't know where he is. I remember thinking to myself, how in the 21st century do people disappear without a trace? Nobody knows where they are. It took weeks before they would even confirm that he was a hostage. A day where everything changed for our family. In fact, the last time I saw Daniel, our beloved son, who as of this recording is still held in Gaza, his lifeless body, which we hope and pray will return, along with all of the Chatufim, those deceased, those alive, such as Matan Angres from the tank and all of the others. The last time I saw him was on Sucot, second day Sucot, the 7th of October this year. Then, of course, the 7th of October was Simjat Torá. This year, it's the second day Sucot, where I took him to the train station, gave him a hug. He went up to the Golan for an exercise to come back to Nachal Oz before Shabbat. How does a person disappear? Here today, not only gone tomorrow, we don't even know where he is. You see, the vulnerability of life, the anxiety of life, the fact that everything can be so temporary, so unexpected, that everything changes in a second, is, I believe, at the core of all the chagim of Tishrei, all the festivals of Tishrei, and of course, specifically Sucot. You see, the vulnerability, fragility of life, transientness of life, that it all passes, is part of life. When we say the Unatana Tokev prayer that we've just said in Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, it's haunting, it's daunting. We say, Adam Yesodom Me'afar, a person comes from dust, goes back to dust. Mashul Kecheres Anishbar is like a broken shard. Ketzitz Novel is like a plant which just disintegrates. Ketzei Lover, like a shadow. Keruach Noshavet, like wind which comes and goes. It's daunting. It's anxiety-provoking. It's scary. And indeed, there are days of awe, the Yamim Noraim. We are unhinged and uneasy when we can come to terms of the vulnerability of life. But you see, on Sukkot, that very same vulnerability we celebrate. You see, when we can accept certain things in life, that they are just the way they are. When you accept them, as M. Scott Peck incredibly says, is a remarkable book, The Road Less Traveled. He says, you know what? Life is difficult. Life is incredibly difficult. It's transient. Death is inevitable. There's so much pain and suffering. Life is difficult. But you know what? He said, I found that when people embrace and don't expect life to be anything other than that, it's not as difficult as one thinks. When one can accept life for what it is, with all of its challenges, it's not as difficult as we might think. You see, on Sukkot, we celebrate the fact that we're vulnerable, that we're fragile, that we're transient. Yes, the sukkah is the most flimsy, fragile structure. Like a ruach noshevet can blow it down. The elements can get in. It is the most impermanent of structures. Yet our sages call it, yes, it's like a shadow which passes, but it's tzila de mehamnuta. It's the shadow of faith. When you have faith in Hashem, when you have the right perspective that things will be the way they're supposed to be, when we accept the fact that we live in God's world and things indeed are fragile, then any wind and any pain and any fragility and vulnerability can indeed be celebrated. And I end and say, we're going to read in a couple of days' time the book of the futility of futilities. We know the book of Kohelet. Hevel havalim akol hevel, we say. Shlomo HaMelech almost 40 times said life is vain, it's hevel, it's futile. But you see, that's not the accurate translation of the word hevel. It can also mean that, but it more often than not means something totally different. Adam la hevel damat, says in Tehillim. A person is considered like a breath. Hevel havalim akol hevel, says the book of Kohelet. Everything is transient. It's like a breath that passes. And therefore it seems vain and futile, but it's not. when we accept that life is hevel, it's transient. We don't have all the chips. We don't control all of the outcomes. But we always, no matter what, whether we can control the elements which we can't, only God does. We can always control the faith we have, how we respond to it, to accept, embrace with all its challenges, the vulnerability and challenges of life, and not to be frightened by it. Yes, we live in God's world, and in God's world anything can change. But when we live in God's world with faith and belief in our inability and our resilience to weather any storm, and we expect life to be just what it is, and embrace it as it comes along, Bezrat Hashem, not only is it something not to be frightened of, it's something we should celebrate. Chag Sameach, 7th of October, should be the day, Bezrat Hashem, very soon. Every single one of our hostages are returned. The evil of Hamas is vanquished. Our soldiers should be safe, and we all live in a much better and safer world for 5786.